Hello there. One of my teachers used to say quality control at every stage, and it's really stuck with me, but possibly not for the reason you might expect. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that with you today, because I know when you're starting out, it's easy to look at your own work and to look at other people's work and to just see that distance between them as so great that it feels like it's not worth continuing, that your work is no good and that you're no good and you should just give up and go and do something else now. And I really want to encourage you to let go of that way of thinking about it, because it doesn't serve you and it's holding you back. And I don't want that for you. So instead, what I want you to think about is to accept that this is a process and that you're learning, and that learning takes time, and that all of us have had to go through that stage wherever we are on this journey. You know, whether you're a complete beginner or you're Picasso, you've had to start somewhere and you've had to practice and you've had to put in the time, and you've got better over that time. So if you put in the time, you will improve. If you do the practice, the work improves. So I want you to take courage from that you can start, because you're not a failure if the work isn't good to start with. Maybe you want to improve it over time, but you are not your work. So even if you produce the worst piece of work in the world, you are not a bad person, you are not a failure, and that's not a reason to give up. So I want to encourage you to kind of create that distance between you and the work, so that when you look at the work, you can see it for itself and to judge its quality without feeling like your own quality is on the line, because that's not up for contest. That's not being debated. You are worthy. And we're not going to worry about that. So don't feel like you're a failure, but do think about how we can use critical thinking at the right moment in time to help us improve the work. And the way to do this is to kind of have a sense of the rhythm of creating. So there's a big period when you're exploring and developing and then creating a work, which is very deeply personal, and it is channeling who you are and how you see the world, and that's a great thing. And then when you've kind of finished or nearly finished a piece of work, there's a moment to sort of step out of that creative flow and to become more critical, not in order to judge ourselves or our value, but in order to assess the work and the quality of the work specifically. So in that moment, we're being impersonal, dispassionate about the work and reflecting on it and how it meets our own sense of quality in terms of where we are at in the process now and where we want to get to. Because if you're always, perceiving the little next step that you want to take, how you think you can improve your work, then you will improve faster. And the way to do this is to use a tool that I call learning from the work. So at that moment of almost completion, you take a step back. You might want to kind of put it out of sight for a little while, so that when you come back to it, you're seeing it fresh. That always helps to kind of create that separation. And you're looking at it to critique, where are the strong points? What's good? What do I like about this? What have I learned? Where can I see I've developed? Because you want to bring those things forward as you develop. You want to keep them with you. If you know that a particular quality of mark or a particular composition works for you, then you want to notice that and keep that with you. But also, if there's an area that you think the colors are a bit muddy, or the composition is weak, or it's not conveying what I wanted it to, or there's a technical issue that you haven't resolved yet, then if you can pick up on that dispassionately without beating yourself up about it, because we don't want to do that, that doesn't help. So if we can let go of that connection between ourselves and our work, then we can see those weaker areas in it and we can do something about it. And that's how you really improve, is by being able to acknowledge and see the weaker areas. And I know this isn't easy. It's taken me a long time to learn this. And I'd get negative feedback from people about my old work, and I wouldn't listen. I couldn't hear it because I was too wrapped up in it myself. But finally, once I was able to create that separation, then I could see what they meant. And actually, looking back now, I agree with them, but I just wasn't ready to hear it at that time. So, learning this is also a process that will take practice. But, try it out. Allow yourself to experiment with it. You know, nobody's going to see you doing this. Nobody's going to judge you for it. You can't fail at it. You know, really, the only way to fail at art is to never start. So if you've taken one step forward, then you're already winning. But if you want to take more steps forward more quickly, then as I say, it's time to learn from your work, to look at it, to assess its strengths and its weaknesses. And then you can think and you can really focus in on, what does this weak area need? How can I improve it? What can I do that will make it stronger? And if you improve the quality of the weak areas, then the overall quality of the work lifts, and it rises and it rises and it rises. And if you are able to do this cyclically with every new work or every new body of work that you're creating, then you're always learning. There's always new information coming in. You're refining the way that you can look at the work and understand what's happening. You're refining your judgment, your discernment, and you're improving the work. And that can only be a good thing. So give it a go, take that first step, know that you're winning from the very first step, and see what you can learn from your work this week. Take care. Bye for now.